Jay Leno's Garage isn't just a garage, it's a cathedral for car lovers. A mechanical museum of human imagination. Over 180 rare, iconic, and bizarre automobiles. More than 160 motorcycles. Millions of dollars in historical machinery. Housed inside a sprawling, state-of-the-art facility in Burbank, California. And thanks to his hit YouTube series, Jay Leno's Garage, fans from around the world have been able to tour it, room by room, one episode at a time. Steam cars, Duesenbergs, EV conversions.
1934 Rolls,
Yep.
P2 chassis. We designed and hand-hammered the body here, and it's all Rolls-Royce.
Concept vehicles from the 1940s to today. Jay's videos have shown it all, or so we thought. For over a decade, viewers believed they had full access to one of the most legendary private collections on Earth. Jay's charm, knowledge, and encyclopedic memory made each video feel personal, intimate, transparent. And yet, even with hundreds of hours of footage and interviews, some questions remain. Because not every door opens, not every corner is lit, and not every vehicle makes it to camera. In rare interviews, Jay has hinted about back rooms and cars that don't run. He's joked about vehicles that were too strange or not worth filming. But longtime insiders and former guests know something more is going on, something that's never been fully documented. Tucked behind an unmarked door at the far end of the garage is a section fans have only heard about in whispers. A dim, unpolished space that doesn't make it into the episodes. There are no LED lights, no rolling dolly shots, no dramatic engine startups. It's not for the public. It's not for the press. It's where Jay Leno stores the cars he never shows anyone. Not because he's hiding them, but because their stories are complicated. This is the part of Jay Leno's Garage you were never meant to see. And once you understand what's in there, you'll know why. Ask any serious car collector and they'll tell you, the most fascinating parts of any garage are the ones not on display. In Jay Leno's case, that rule holds true, in ways most fans have never imagined. Behind the bright lights, polished floors, and YouTube-ready showcases lies a corner of the garage complex that almost no one talks about. Not because it's off-limits, but because it's intentionally left out. Even guests who've toured Jay's facility rarely get to see it. Those who do, they don't speak publicly about what they saw. This section, sometimes referred to by insiders as the vault or the lower bay, isn't part of the official walkthrough. There's no signage, no plaques, no camera crew. It's accessed through a nondescript industrial door, plain metal, no labels, just concrete and silence. What's inside isn't glamorous. It's raw, dusty, half-lit. And unlike the rest of Jay's pristine museum, it feels more like an archive, a time capsule of forgotten bets and experimental dreams. Jay has mentioned it only in passing. In one interview, he joked, "There are some cars I've got that I'm still trying to figure out why I've got them." In another, he laughed about how some cars don't start, and others, well, I probably shouldn't talk about those. But these throwaway comments barely scratch the surface. Because, according to former crew members and close friends of the Leno team, this hidden room serves a unique purpose. It's where Jay keeps the cars that don't belong on display. Not because they aren't important, but because they are. Prototypes, concepts, failures, experiments. Each one carries a story, not always a happy one. Some were industrial secrets. Others were gifted by desperate automakers. A few, they were personal projects that went nowhere. This isn't the showroom, it's the underbelly. And for Jay, it's just as sacred. The exact contents of Jay Leno's secret garage room are known only to a few, and even they tread carefully when asked. But over the years, bits and pieces have leaked out. Whispers, glimpses in the background of certain episodes. And from those fragments, a tantalizing picture has emerged. A collection not of supercars or concourse queens, but of what-ifs. Among the rumored artifacts, a mid-engine Corvette prototype from the early 1990s, a one-off test mule allegedly gifted to Jay by a retired GM executive. It was never intended for production and has since vanished from public record. A student-built Chrysler turbine shell, used in the early 2000s by a design school partnered with Mopar. It's said to be little more than a fiberglass body with experimental turbine fittings, and a note taped to the dash that reads, "Do not start." An off-the-books Lamborghini prototype built in secret during the early 2000s. Sources claim it failed crash testing so dramatically it was never shown to the public, and was quietly disposed of. Or gifted. A first-gen Tesla mule, featuring early non-production battery tech and a salvaged Lotus shell. Allegedly a personal favor from Elon Musk, who asked that it never be featured online due to IP sensitivities. And that's just the surface. Other vehicles are said to include hydrogen fuel cell trials, defunct rotary engine experiments, and a handful of EVs that predate Tesla's Roadster by nearly a decade. Why haven't we seen them? Because these aren't museum pieces. They're ghosts, pieces of automotive history that were never supposed to exist, let alone survive. Jay doesn't show them not out of secrecy, but out of respect. For the engineers who tried, for the ideas that almost worked, for the machines that history forgot, and for some, because they might still be covered by NDAs. Jay Leno is a man of stories. Every episode of Jay Leno's Garage isn't just about cars, it's about people, legacy, design, engineering, and the journey of how a machine comes to life. And for a story to work, Jay believes, the car has to have one. In his own words, "I don't just show off cars, I tell stories. And not every car has a story worth telling." That's the real reason why this secret room remains unfilmed. The cars in there aren't finished. They're not polished. Some of them don't even run. Others run, but were abandoned by the companies that created them. A few are so early in their prototype development, they don't even have proper VINs. They're ghosts of ideas. Cars born in boardrooms and design studios that never made it past the sketchpad phase. For Jay, this space is less about curation and more about preservation. It's his way of honoring the attempt, even when the result didn't make headlines. Some of these vehicles were sent to him with a note. Others arrived without fanfare, quietly unloaded off trucks late at night. Some are legal gray areas. Others were too dangerous to drive. A few were just too weird to explain. But to Jay, they matter. Because behind every failed concept is an engineer who dreamed of changing the world. Behind every unfinished prototype is a team that gave everything they had, even if the world never noticed. That's why this room stays dark. Not because it isn't worthy, but because it was never meant to be seen. And in that silence, Jay Leno has found something more meaningful than a YouTube view count. He's found the soul of the machine. Jay Leno has never been content just collecting beautiful cars. He's always been drawn to the strange ones, the misunderstood ones, the machines that dared to think differently. And nowhere is that more evident than in the secret room. While his public garage holds mint-condition Bugattis and legendary muscle cars, the private section holds a different kind of treasure. Failed experiments and forgotten technologies that were once on the cutting edge of automotive innovation. Take, for instance, a gas turbine-powered sedan prototype from the 1960s, a Chrysler project that aimed to replace the internal combustion engine entirely. Only a few were ever built. Most were destroyed. But rumor has it, Jay rescued one of the engineering shells from a private estate sale and keeps it tucked away. Never fully restored, just preserved. Then there's talk of a rotary engine prototype unlike anything Mazda ever released. Designed in partnership with a now-defunct engineering firm, the engine was reportedly installed in a makeshift test chassis and abandoned after the company folded. Jay didn't show it in his Rotary Collection episode, but sources say it's real, and it lives in the back. And it goes deeper. There are 3 D-printed subframes, partial hydrogen fuel cell builds, even early-stage aerodynamic test beds. Cars with no headlights, unfinished interiors, and bizarre silhouettes, used solely for wind tunnel trials and range tests. Why does Jay keep them? Because they represent the leap, the moment in history where someone tried to do the impossible. They're not glamorous, they're not photogenic, but to a gearhead like Leno, they're priceless. In that secret room, it's not about perfection, it's about possibility. Some of the vehicles in Jay Leno's secret room aren't forgotten. They're off-limits. And that's where things get complicated. While many of the hidden builds are simply weird or broken, others are legally sensitive. Some are concept cars that were never meant to be sold or even driven outside of their original manufacturer's facility. Others were gifts or loaners that came with strings attached. Like the alleged Tesla mule built during the company's early development years. According to whispers, the car uses experimental battery tech and internal wiring schematics that were never patented. Elon Musk himself reportedly asked Jay not to document or showcase the car, and Jay, respecting the request, locked it away. Then there's a European concept vehicle built for a Geneva Motor Show that was cancelled at the last minute. The car was incomplete, over budget, and eventually sold to Leno in a quiet, no-press transaction. Its materials, advanced composites and active aerotech, were ahead of their time, but showcasing it now could reignite legal entanglements with the original investors. Even more sensitive are the prototype safety vehicles, automobiles that failed federal crash tests or were never tested at all. These can't legally be titled or driven on U.S. roads, and Jay keeps them off camera to avoid sparking regulatory scrutiny. But there's a deeper reason too. Jay has said it best. Some cars are private for a reason. They're not mine to explain. Behind every hidden car is a story that's not always his to tell. NDAs, verbal agreements, personal relationships, all of these shape what makes it to the screen and what stays in the dark. It's not censorship, it's respect. Because sometimes the most interesting machines are also the most misunderstood. Jay Leno didn't set out to become the guardian of automotive orphans, but over time, that's exactly what happened. When a car company closes its doors or a project gets canceled, the vehicles often disappear. They're scrapped, lost, forgotten. But occasionally, they land in Jay's hands, not because he wants to flex them, but because he knows they deserve to be saved. And that's where the emotional weight of the secret room really sets in. Some of these cars came to him from grieving families, builders or designers who passed away before finishing their work. Jay accepted the projects, knowing they would never be complete, simply to honor the legacy behind them. Others came as final attempts by dying companies, an engineer's Hail Mary, sent to Jay not as a gift, but as a memorial. Please keep this safe. One letter reportedly read, "It's all that's left of our dream." Then there are the projects Jay took on personally. wild ideas that even his team didn't understand, early experiments in EV conversions, compressed air engines, or hybrid manual-automatic gearboxes. Some worked, most didn't. But Jay never threw them away. Because to him, being a collector isn't about polish, it's about preservation. It's about recognizing that value doesn't always come from success. In this room, every dent tells a story. Every failed project whispers something no finished car ever could. And for Leno, who spent his life chasing not just performance, but meaning, this is the part of the garage that matters most. For a man known for his encyclopedic memory and open-door approach to car culture, Jay Leno is surprisingly good at keeping secrets, but he's also bad at hiding excitement. And over the years, eagle-eyed fans have noticed something odd: little slips, fleeting glimpses, accidental reveals. In one video from nearly a decade ago, the camera pans just a bit too wide, revealing a wedge-shaped silhouette under a tarp. It didn't match anything from Jay's known collection. Fans on Reddit dissected the frame. Some said it looked like a Bertone concept. Others claimed it was an unreleased Ford GT mule. Jay never addressed it. In another clip, he casually mentions a car I can't really talk about when discussing alternative fuels. That single comment sparked dozens of theories about a hydrogen-powered project he's rumored to be keeping hidden due to patent disputes. Then, there's the door itself. In one behind-the-scenes blooper reel, a staff member opens a plain gray door and immediately shuts it again. The shot is cut quickly, but frame-by-frame analysis shows racks of unpainted body panels, a low-slung chassis, and handwritten notes taped to the wall. No signs, no badging, no explanation. Jay has never formally acknowledged the room, but he's winked at it. He's joked about stuff we can't start because the fire marshal would freak. He's referenced projects we're still figuring out what to do with. But fans know, the more he jokes, the more they believe. There's more than just old cars in that room. There are answers. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Jay is preserving the last bit of wonder in a world where everything is streamed, dissected, and instantly shared. Maybe mystery is the last thing he still gets to keep. To understand the secret garage is to understand Jay Leno himself. He isn't just a collector. He's a historian, a steward, someone who doesn't just value what's popular, but what's important. And sometimes, importance doesn't come wrapped in chrome or history books. It comes in failure, in innovation that didn't pan out, in the unseen edges of possibility. The secret room isn't about hiding. It's about holding space for ideas that weren't ready or weren't understood. It's about keeping alive the stories that never got told, that never got their moment in the sun. Because once they're gone, they're gone. A turbine engine prototype that never worked is still a testament to bold thinking. A hydrogen car that couldn't pass emissions still represents a turning point. A forgotten concept with a half-finished interior still reflects hours, years of work by engineers, artists, and builders whose names we'll never know. Jay doesn't hoard these vehicles out of ego. He doesn't lock them up because they're flawed. He keeps them because they matter. And if he didn't, they'd be crushed, scrapped, lost to time. The room is his quiet rebellion, a way of saying, you might not have made it to the showroom floor, but you belonged. And in a culture obsessed with perfection, Jay Leno is quietly archiving the imperfect and preserving something deeper. No guided tour, no plaque, no flashing lights or polished chrome, just a plain door, a room behind a room, and inside, a symphony of forgotten ambition. Jay Leno's secret garage isn't about exclusivity. It's about empathy for the car that never got finished, for the prototype that scared off investors, for the dream that sat in storage, waiting for someone to understand it. And maybe, just maybe, that's why he keeps it hidden. Because to walk through that room is to walk through a different kind of automotive history. One that isn't told in auctions or docuseries, but in failures, ideas, and almosts. It's the opposite of showbiz. It's quiet, it's dusty, it's sacred. Every car in there once carried the hope of someone who believed they could change the world. And now, in silence, Jay Leno gives those machines the one thing they never got: a home. Some cars go to museums, some go to scrap yards, but the lucky ones, they go to Jay.